daughter's in school, and yeah, but I don't want to talk about that on here. That's, you know what I mean? I deal with that enough already here.
I wish we didn't have to talk about that at all, but...
Right. Well, I mean, if you just really think want to talk about it, I won't get mad or nothing, but I'm saying.
No,
it's not really a subject.
I don't want to talk about it.
It bothers the crap out of me, but I try to be as understanding as I can because I understand what it's like to be a kid, and for people and for your parents to think that they know something over you and you don't really understand that, and it makes you resent them. And
they do, though. They do.
And I don't want my daughter. Well, no, she's only 11.
Oh,
but
wow.
My daughter's 11.
A year ahead in school, and she's very smart, and she's very, very like me. She's just like me. She's so, oh God, it's so weird. Like, I've learned a lot about myself having her. Wow.
My daughter is 11, coming home saying, shit, I have to look up.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
On the internet. Like,
sometimes.
Wait a minute.
Well, not
Let me
usually,
make sure I
but
understand this right.
And she have more hair on her head? You know what that means. Yeah.
Okay, she got more hair on her head than you.
I would hope so, yes. My daughter does have more hair. Lots more hair, as a matter of fact. Smart ass. I know what's going to happen here. I'm going to blink my eyes, and it's going to be 4 in the morning like it was yesterday, and I'm going to be like, oh shit, I need to go to bed.
It's 5:30 in the morning here. Damn.
Thank God, it's only 2:30 here. Good morning. It's only 2:30 here. So you must live back on the other coast, huh?
I'm in Kentucky. I'm on Eastern time.
On the other coast. Pacific.
So I'm going to try for the 3rd time before oh gosh. Well, before I leave the conversation, because I do need to get some amount of sleep. You know, the whole like numerology thing and how, you know, they do stuff because of that and certain dates and things. Well, today is 666. Just saying. It is.
You just had to, didn't you?
I had to.
You just had to say. You know, I probably, last time there was Friday the 13th or whatever, I didn't even notice. And it didn't bother me or hurt me or do anything.
Well,
So
I mean, sure, if you're like me and we don't look at the TV, because I haven't had one in
I try.
8
I watch TV
years now.
But
I don't have one. I don't know what's on it, but it is June 6th. It's 2022. 2 + 2 + 2. So it's 666 today. Just saying, you know, things go funky on certain days. So I'm curious to see what kind of interesting things might happen. Especially considering all of the excessive amounts of gun things going on. Just wondering.
And since when do people?
I don't have any predictions, but you know.
Have you guys ever noticed people setting off fireworks on Memorial Day?
No.
I mean, I know 4th of July, right? Then what the fuck is going on in this world?
It's kind of a thing. It's like every holiday thing, though, now.
What the fuck? Where are they getting all these good fireworks? I want to know.
Indiana.
No, I'm talking about people over here. Where the fuck do they get them at? You have to go to Nevada to buy them. So what, they all just go over to Nevada? I mean, I'm talking about expensive.
You can just order them in the mail.
Not like cheap stuff like bottle rockets and firecrackers. I'm talking about stuff that pops off and goes above the trees in your neighborhood and burns stuff down. You know what I mean? Mortar balls and stuff. These people are setting off.
That's what you want.
It's insane.
You want to be burning stuff down. Cool.
I mean, I have some of those kind of fireworks, but I'm saying,
where
are they
getting and shit?
You hear what I said? No, I actually, somebody gave some fireworks to me. I don't even think they're any good, but because they're like from some woman's basement. Anyway, but yeah, it makes me wonder, like, where do these people get this kind of money? Like, you know, like I thought things were like bad for everybody, but I guess everybody took their COVID check out and they bought fireworks with it because there's, I mean, I'm talking, there's some like block party type setups that go on for like 3 or 4 minutes, and it's just like pop, 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 and it's high enough that you can see it from a distance. It's amazing. It's like, I didn't know you could buy anything like that, or even remotely like that, anywhere near California, but I guess I was wrong. Or maybe somebody's making this stuff. I don't know.
Well, not in California, because everything's illegal there.
Well, no, we have
You
safe
just have
and
to
sane
leave
fireworks in
California.
certain counties that you can set off, but they're all like spark things. You know, they're never
Sparklers.
anything that goes up and goes
That's
off
the
and
good
explodes.
stuff.
When I was a kid in Missouri, I would go and I'd spend. My dad would give me like $100 or $50 or something, right? And I'd go into this giant tent that would have thousands and thousands of different fireworks, and I'd get tanks that shot at each other, that blow up and burn each other. There would be airplane things that you hang on the side of the fence that would spin and then shoot sparks, and firecrackers would fly out of it. I mean, all kinds of nutty stuff.
Are you talking about
And
Boomland?
something like that, yeah. Well, it was back in Missouri where I was born. But yeah, Kansas City. My dad used to take me. We used to go look at fireworks. That was one thing we did when I was a kid. It was fun. But he'd buy fireworks every year. But they had tents and they had all kinds. They had Roman candles and bottle rockets that were huge, big, huge rockets that would like shoot up into the trees and go boom and explode into sparks and stuff. It was cool as hell. But when I went and saw the fireworks that they have in the county that's next to mine, they're like, you know, all it is this little thing that sits on the ground that you light and it shoots sparks and it maybe crackles a little bit. That's it. It doesn't explode. It doesn't do anything like that. You know, it's really sad. But yet somehow the people that buy these kind of fireworks still seem to burn their houses down with them. I don't know how they do that, but obviously some people just don't understand what fire
that's
is.
propaganda to make you not want to do that.
Maybe. Maybe.
So you don't
No,
go
I mean,
buy
literally
fireworks.
every year, every 4th of July, somebody's house in the neighborhood burns
No
down.
fun allowed.
Because some kids are doing something stupid. It's usually not fireworks they're playing with, but somebody's house always gets burned down. It's insane. Oh.
It's probably never really a good idea to use bottle rockets in a really condensed neighborhood. Houses close together.
Well, you know, in the
they can go
Midwest,
sideways.
everything is so green. You don't have like all this dead grass and this winter wheat like you do in California and some of these hills out here in Nevada. It's like, you know, you don't have all these piled up dead trees and things. In Missouri, like everything's green all the time. Everything's properly watered with the dew and the moisture and all the rain that we get, or they get. So it's not like California. In California, it only rains in the springtime usually, or maybe a little in the winter. But that rain, all it does is make it green in the spring. And then after that, it all dies and it's all dry. And it's literally like a cinder box, man. You throw a cigarette out the window and it lights a fire and half the county will burn. That's how bad it is. Because everything's just dead. There's no moisture in the air. It's all evaporated somehow. Or it just doesn't get to us. I don't know. I think they make it. I think they control the weather and they do it on purpose, but who knows? Can't prove it. Well, actually, I could, but that would take a lot longer to do than the time I have right now. That's the part that gets me, though. It's like, I thought,
Be nice.
you know, who? What?
What?
Who are you talking to? You said be nice. I was like, what did I do?
No, you're good. Go ahead.
I think I'm talking too much. I'm really tired, and I don't know why I'm still talking like as if I did a line or something, but it's probably from smoking too much pot and staying up late. But anyway,
I'm sure you
I'm
didn't.
gonna let somebody else talk.
So me and Rookie watched that What Is Woman documentary yesterday. Has anyone else seen it?
I've only seen little clips, but yeah.
It's pretty crazy, man. America
It
is fucked up.
Oh, I love the creepy faces that those people give to him when he asks them this question. It just blows my mind.
Well, it's
And how
good,
all
like going
these
to a
real
feminist march.
100% females go, I don't know what a woman is.
Especially at a women's rights march.
But these guys in Africa, they know all about what a woman is. They'll tell you exactly what a woman is and who can be a woman and who can have babies. They know
It's
all
kinda
the answers
simple.
to that, even though they're primitive people and they don't really know much, you know. But they understand what the difference between a man and
You're
a
being
woman is.
sarcastic, right?
No, I'm dead serious. I'm dead serious. He does interviews
No,
with
I mean
people
about.
like in Africa
Well,
that
no,
don't
of
even
course,
speak
but
English, and they literally know what a man and a woman is better than the people in America seem to. It's
well, just
really,
the
really
primitive
scary.
word. Because we're just convinced they're primitive because of propaganda, but they're not actually primitive. They're just natural.
I know, you know what I mean. It's
Okay,
yeah,
good.
of course, it's
Just
a stereotype that's not true, but I mean, it's manifesting that how fake that stereotype is what I meant by that. I didn't mean to make it
Yeah, I
sound
mean,
icky or not.
Yeah.
It's hard not to be a bigot of some kind or another because I was raised around people who talk like that. So if it slips out and I say something like that, forgive me. It's not really like who I am. It just happens to be in my vocabulary and it comes out sometimes. Like if I say something wrong or if it sounds like I'm being racist,
it's just that we're
whatever.
taught to think that way.
Exactly, that's what I mean. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah,
I have actively spent a lot
you
of
were
time
really
trying
racist
not
to
to
start,
do that.
mate.
I know, that's okay. You know what? You'll get over it, though. That's okay. I'm a firm believer that you'll get over it. But no, I mean, like,
I'm not worried about it.
I have friends that are all different nationalities. They're from different
He has a black
places in the
friend.
world.
It's okay. He has a black friend.
Do I? Yeah, actually, I do. But he's actually half black and half white. He looks more white than I do, I think, sometimes.
I was just joking.
I know you weren't. But I wasn't going to say that, but since you said it, I might as well make more fun out of it.
Let the cat out of the bag. He actually has an almost black friend.
I have a Mexican friend too. You know that?
Whoa!
Hispanic
Slow
guy.
down.
He's Hispanic. He told me he's from Mexico.
Does he speak Mexican?
No, I do. He does speak Spanish. Yeah, he doesn't speak Mexican though. He speaks Spanglish, but he doesn't speak Mexican. Mexican is just food. Is a type of food, man.
Not just a friend.
Are you talking about me, Rookie?
I don't know. Are you Hispanic?
He's a Mexican.
You talking about Jamesy?
I don't know. Was Jamesy Hispanic?
Just messing with you.
No,
Even if he's not, he's doing a really good job.
I'm talking about Cyrus. Okay. No, I don't know. I'll pick on anybody who's comfortable with me picking on them. I mean, I'll make jokes and all that. I don't have a problem with it, making fun of people. But I usually pick on everybody. I don't just pick on black people or white people or Mexican or whatever. I don't know. I'm not like that. And I don't dislike anybody because of who they are.
Yeah, he's racist to everyone.
Unless they're just retarded and they just get on my nerves and they come in and bug me all the time.
An equal opportunist.
I'm an equal opportunity asshole. Yeah, no, I'm an equal opportunity asshole. I'll hate you for a lot of reasons, but trust me, it won't really have anything to do with the color of your skin. And if it is, it's only because I'm angry with you, and that happens to be something that I know will get on your nerves. So I'm going to do that when I get angry and scream at you. You know what I mean? Like, it's fair game. Like, when you get mad, you're going to say things that you don't mean. So
that just sounds like you're making excuses for your actions.
Yeah.
Well, no, that just happens to be true, doesn't it?
You don't have to
you're telling me you've never been around someone that's a different nationality than you and you slip and say something rude like racist?
I have at least 2 black friends.
Because you're trying
not even.
And actually slip and say it? Really? Not since you were a kid, nothing, never.
No, I don't
think. All right, wow, you guys are better than people than me, I guess.
To your other friends, are they in a different category to your white friends and your Asian friends and your Mexican friends? Like in your little phone book, do you have like a list that's like, here's all my black friends, here's all my Mexican friends, here's all my Asian friends. Like I'm in an Asian kind of mood today. I'm gonna go.
You know what? I'm gonna have to do that though because I never even thought about this. I keep track of all those motherfuckers. Maybe that's the reason why I can never remember who's who anymore. I should just keep. That's a good idea, man. I never thought of that.
Well, I mean, all Chinese people look the same, right?
I don't know. There are some nationalities
squeeze,
that do, yes.
God.
But it's only when you first meet them. Usually after you're around them, you realize how different they are. Kind of like when you meet twins. At first they look identical, but after a couple of weeks of being around them, you realize they really are different. They act different. There's different things about them. But it takes you a while for your brain to like catch on to that because you're not used. You know what I mean? Yeah, it is dodgy, but it's true though.
They're different.
You're not the best at picking up sarcasm, are you?
No, I am. It's just I like to like roll over it like as if it's not sarcasm and make sarcasm about it. But sometimes it's not funny. I'm sorry. No, I was trying to get out of that one and try to make something funny that kind of like went with it, but didn't make me seem like a dumbass. But it wasn't working.
You're good. You're good.
No, not really. Sometimes, maybe. But if you tell me I'm good, then that'll screw it up because then once I think I'm
Oh,
good,
then
then
you're
I'll
gonna
fuck
think
it up.
about
No,
it
she
too
meant you were
much.
good at being a dumbass.
Yeah, that's it. No, that's exactly the nature
He
of
is
that
all
stuff.
up in his own head. Don't say any more
Yep.
words.
Yeah, don't say words when I'm talking either, because it'll fuck my head up. I'm kidding.
Kidding, not kidding, right?
I was a spoiled kid, you know. I was an only child, and my mom spoiled me rotten. So did my grandmother. So it's not necessarily all my fault, but you know, I learned how to manipulate my mom and my grandmother to get what I wanted and get away with shit that no other kid got away with. But I managed to get away with it and still not get in trouble somehow. I don't know how I did that, but I did. I guess maybe because my mom and my grandma were looking out for me, even though it seemed like they weren't. But I was a little hellion. I ran around. So from the time I was like 7, 8 years old, I ran the neighborhood and did what I want. As long as my mom and my grandma knew where I was at, where I was residing, like what house I was at, they didn't care where I went. They literally didn't. And I had a bike really young, and I rode my bike to my friend's house that was far away sometime. They didn't mind as long as they knew when I was coming, you know. They kept track of, you know, when I was traveling to and from, you know, to make sure I wasn't just out wandering. They weren't just letting me do whatever, but, you know, they would literally give me money and then let me go spend the night at a friend's house, and they would trust that their parents would take care of me. And because they, you know, basically it was true because I was a smart kid. If anybody was trying to hurt me or do anything weird to me, I would call my mom. I wasn't stupid, you know. There was a good reason why they trusted me, but I did get away with a lot of shit. Like my mom let me get high and bought me weed, and you know she got me drunk a few times. That kind of shit, you know. Like my mom,
I was
but
about
she
to
was a
say we
single
had a
mom.
very similar youth, but then you said that stuff.
Well, my dad was really strict. My stepmom and my dad were really strict. They would never let me do that stuff. But my mom did, but only for like, I don't know, I guess it was I was about 11, and she found out I was getting high with some kids in the neighborhood. And there was a guy in the neighborhood that was giving the kids the weed, and she was worried that he was a little creepy, that he was going to lace it with something. And so she decided to just go ahead and let me smoke pot with her rather than, you know, her risking me being with some boys and then smoking some PCP or something, and then
Oh my
you know
God.
some guy taking advantage of us or something, because there was some weird people in our neighborhood. So I guess that's the way she looked at it. That's the way she explained it.
I thought that's how they explain things in movies.
Well, maybe maybe you're right, but my life was a movie, obviously. But that's what she said.
Are you a
She told
cop?
me she didn't want me. No, no, not a cop.
I'm just fucking with you, dude.
Okay,
Chill
I was
out,
gonna
man.
say. No, I was gonna say, why do you ask? I was just anyway.
He's a Russian cop.
Russian.
He's
Yeah,
a
I'm
bot.
Russian. No, I'm
Not just
German.
any cop.
German, Irish, Dutch, and American Indian or something like that. And then whatever else
Ain't
when I
we?
was in my mom didn't
The
tell me.
Irish part was cool.
Might be some black in there too, you know.
You already said about how big you are. There's no black there.
Maybe. I never said I wasn't. I just said I wasn't. You know what I mean?
You kids have fun now.
Yeah. Got a tape measure? Let's find out. Of course,
Well
I'm
then.
joking. Yep. Now it's time to see our way out of this conversation. Good idea, right? I got a weird question. What does non-binary mean?
It means you have 2 pieces of Indian bread.
That's a good one. because I wasn't aware that there was such a thing. I knew that there was men, women, and I knew there was people that had both, but I didn't know there was people that didn't have any. Well, good night, guys. I need to get some sleep. See y'all later.
Night, bro.
Mic check.
Hello. Where is it?
Good morning.
Hey, what's up, man? Unusually quiet in this place.
Yeah, it's Monday morning, I guess. Or afternoon or evening.
True that, true that.
You're in the States, right? Right?
Yeah, East Coast. You?
Canada Central,
Oh, nice.
Ontario. Wait,
What's you
cloudy where you are?
Not
Sorry?
really. Oh, I was just
Oh,
asking what's got you up so early?
I gotta go to work. I work at 7-ish.
Oh,
I'm not going to be there at 7 today.
All right.
I'll be staying late today, though, so I don't feel bad.
Nice. Yeah, it actually looks pretty clear, but I mean the sun came up not too long ago, so.
I guess I'm fairly far from the coast in Ontario, right? North of
Terry, yeah, you like
Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York.
yeah. You're right in the middle. Do you guys also call it the Midwest up there? Like that part of Canada? The middle?
No, we're arrogant. We call it Ontario. Over a third of the population is in this province, so
Oh damn. Okay.
yeah, we got 38 million and 15 or so this year.
Damn.
But have you been to Canada at all?
Yeah, I mean I've been into Ontario, but like the Toronto ends, because that's like right above us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
so
like
Toronto has 5 million.
yeah. Toronto's like it's like a little New York, almost. It tries to be.
Yeah, it's pretty multicultural. It's
Yeah. Ain't bad. I've always wanted to
well,
go
New
out
York
west
is
though.
like BC.
Yeah, like wherever Vancouver is. Is
Yeah,
that
BC
BC?
is nice, but it's
Yeah.
expensive.
Is it? Damn.
I only went there once, and it was 1986, so that was a while ago.
Yeah. Are you near Ottawa? Oh,
About
you said you were
6 hours. About 4 hours north of Toronto, so 400 kilometers. What's that? 240 miles? No, is that right?
Okay. So you closest to Iowa. All right.
And 600 kilometers, so 400 miles from Ottawa.
Damn.
But if you drew a line north of Toronto and west from Ottawa, you'd pretty much hit Sudbury.
I see. So you're pretty
But
close
we
to Quebec, or
the Quebec border is about an hour from here, just by North Bay. But Ontario's a really weird shape if you ever see it.
yeah, I've
So
seen.
we consider ourselves Northern Ontario, and Northern Ontario only has just over 1 million people, and it's massive. It's from here up.
But I'm guessing
There's
it's
a lot
all
of
iced out.
bush. No,
Oh.
it's it's all trees here where I am, birch and pine.
Oh, nice.
We'd be similar to probably southern Minnesota.
I see. But I mean, how come no one would want to live up there? Like, why is it so empty?
Well, north of us, it is through the tree line. I've never been there, but well, half an hour past where I work is what's called the watershed. So that's where the water drains into James Bay, Hudson's Bay, and the Arctic Ocean. Whereas where I am right now, it drains into the St. Lawrence or the Great Lakes, and then into the Atlantic Ocean. So it's just I don't know. Why don't people want to live in Wyoming? It's beautiful, right?
Yeah. I've always thought to myself why people want to live in these. I mean, there's so much space, vegetation, water. I don't know.
That's why. I hate the city.
Yeah.
We live about 5 minutes, or actually 7 minutes from a shopping center and gas, restaurants and things like that. But we live on the lake where it's quiet, fairly.
Best of both worlds. I like that.
Yeah. Don't have to worry about the kids and can let the dog out without a leash.
Exactly, man. I always had a question, like Northern Canada, right? Like, I don't know, like the Northwest Territories and whatnot. Do you get 24 hours sunlight there? Is it a thing?
They
or
would. They would, but not, again, not too many people live there.
Mm.
They transplanted the Inuit, some of the Inuit population farther north, and my understanding is so that they can claim that the oil in the Arctic is theirs, but Russia's done the same. So
Oh, that's smart.
yeah, shitty for the Inuit though.
Yeah, it is shitty for the Inuit.
Like they're tough buggers, those guys.
Yeah. Trying to see.
We have near us, well, we say near us only because it's still many hours away, is the James Bay Natives Reserve. And it floods just about every year, so they evacuate them, send them to a couple nearby cities, us included. Wait for the flood to go away and put them back in their houses.
This happens every year. What the hell?
Just about. Yeah, they live in Timmins and Sudbury for half the year.
All right.
You can get there by plane or ice road.
Ice road. Like, how do y'all navigate on the ice road? Do you need like special set of tires or?
I don't do it, so I don't even know if I'm allowed to drive on them. But I don't even care to find out.
Yeah.
But I have studded winter tires.
All right.
We're allowed studs in Northern Ontario, not in Southern Ontario. Well, you're in Toronto, so just about 40 minutes north of Toronto is a town called Barrie. That's where Torontonians call the North after Barrie.
Oh, okay. So that's like the Divine Line. Barrie.
It's not. It's the word socioeconomic, so it's not an actual line. It's a perceived line, right?
Hmm.
So I consider just south of Sudbury the start of it.
All right.
It's unique. Are you a scientist, or you just know a lot of these science?
Well, I work in physics. I don't know if I would label myself a scientist.
Well, that's a scientist.
You?
No,
Nate, you work in physics?
What was that?
No, Nate, what a shame. Come on, man.
Is that Don? Who is that?
You work in physics?
Yeah. I studied. I mean my work is centered around physics, yeah.
I mean, okay. You don't want to tell us more?
I'm not trying to get dogs. What about you?
Well, it sounds like but it just sounds like the way you're disclosing it. It's like, not that you can control what everybody hears, right? But it's like, I would bet most people heard more of a credit than what it's going to be. The way you keep it, well, in physics, it's like, all right, we'll make it backpedaling.
But and then he also said, but I wouldn't consider myself a scientist if I heard correctly.
Yeah. I did say that. But I mean, I do actual physics. I just don't like to talk about it too much because then.
I mean, what are you, an X-ray technician? I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like, anyway, God bless. I didn't know that, man. I'm kidding around because we were talking about specialists last night. Dude, I see people's eyes too close to the table a lot, man. It's just real interesting, you know. When you're focused on, you know, one thing, sometimes you don't, you know, see other stuff because you're, you know, trained in a certain way. But yeah, just certain little things sometimes that come up, and it's like you have to elaborate the visual. Like, you disagree with Jeremy's visuals a lot, but then end up agreeing with him at the end of it, or like after, like, well, if you want to say technically, you know, and it's like,
No,
man,
it's just because you know Jeremy does this thing where he words things in a certain way that he can have a gotcha, even though he has no real point that he's trying to make. He just wants to win an argument. So that's why I give him a bit of pushback playfully, you know.
I see.
Negative. I'm trying to get to the truth. Okay, I'm trying to get to the truth.
Trying to get to the truth.
Yeah, but
That's all.
yeah, yesterday the argument was, do you agree with our definition of pseudoscience, which is all of ours? And the answer is yes. Do we agree with the definition of science? Yes. Is astrophysics a science or astronomy? Nate and I would say yes.
Well, you wouldn't agree with me on the definition of pseudoscience. You left. You ran away.
No, I didn't run away. I went shopping, and then somebody interrupted me. So what is your definition of pseudoscience?
If anyone ever leaves, they ran away. So
if it's the same definition given by Rochester University, then yes, I agree with that.
What is it?
You ready to pick that conversation up?
You ready to pick that conversation back up right now?
Yeah, are you? You sound tired.
Yeah, I just woke up. So what's your definition of pseudoscience? Is your definition of pseudoscience when you don't follow the scientific method?
Yes.
Okay, good, perfect. And in the scientific method, you need to have an experiment?
No.
Well, then that's where you're going to fall off the track right there.
No, that's your.
You definitely need an experiment.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Jeremy, do you know Nate was in physics?
Like, Hez ain't even disagreeing that you need an experiment anymore. That's old. That's an old bullshit argument.
I don't know. Can you think of any way, Jeremy, that you find a cause and an effect relationship if you didn't follow the scientific method? Is there any?
Yeah, you'd never know without an experiment. You never know.
Yes, you can. With observation.
Oh, really? Cause and effect with observation. All right, come on. We've got to hear this one. Got to hear this one.
So, didn't they find Neptune because they knew there was a cause and effect relationship about orbits and the elliptical nature of those orbits? So they knew where to look for this planet when they got telescopes good enough.
Yeah, you're roboting. You're roboting, bro.
There it was. Okay, can you explain how they found Neptune?
Better now.
Okay, can you explain how they found Neptune?
Finding something is not. Hold on. When you just finding something, if I go out and find a rock, you didn't fucking follow the scientific method on that. There's no cause and effect, no experiment. I mean, I don't know why we're even arguing with it. He says you don't need an experiment to do the scientific method. So where do you think we're going to go with this?
Here's the point.
There was no experiment to find Neptune.
Yeah,
they observed the elliptical nature of the.
Hey, buddy,
all right, keep fucking interrupting.
A variable all the time, so you could say that Chronic says it's an experiment. I just want to let you know this. Chronic will say it's an experiment for them looking for Neptune. Time.
Doesn't matter what Chronic says.
I'm just saying.
Who's Chronic and is he here?
Yo, but you're not doing your side any favors, dude.
Why?
Not?
Chucky.
Who's Chronic? Who's Chronic?
Astrophysicist.
Okay.
That looks.
It's certainly following the scientific method.
I'm saying, bro, you're gonna have to understand that your side will tell Jeremy that the thing looking for Neptune was an experiment. They will. Xanax in here. Where's Xanax? I mean, bro, like you got to steel man this shit. That's why Jeremy be whooping y'all's ass, bro, because y'all don't even know y'all's own shit.
Yeah,
I'm sorry I'm interrupting you, but it's like I'm
you roboted.
you falling on your sword, dude. Like it's ridiculous.
If you want to call it an experiment, that's fine, depending on your definition of experiment. I won't, but I'll still say it follows the scientific method because it uses systematic observation and a hypothesis.
Okay.
Do you know what? So you think you need a hypothesis for the scientific method?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Do you know what a hypothesis is?
I have a clue.
Huh?
I'm far from an expert in it.
What's a hypothesis? What does it do?
It's an educated guess that you want to try to prove or disprove.
And do you know how you do that?
Either through
Sometimes.
observation or experimentation.
You do it with an experiment because an experiment is a hypothesis test.
No. You can actually do it through observation, so you can test hypotheses through observation.
Not when you're doing natural science, absolutely not. And you definitely wouldn't be following the scientific method if that's what you ended up doing.
I reject that premise, Jeremy, and I would like
you do.
Demonstrate in disciplines like chemistry, biology, astronomy, where that is a criterion or criteria.
Yeah, no. I'm not even interested in having this conversation if somebody else wants to have it. It's boring and
biology
and useless.
And astrophysics are
my bad. I thought I was in the middle of a sentence.
No, yeah, well, I interrupted.
Yeah, I don't want to have this conversation with you guys. It's boring and just unintelligent. Like
then stop talking.
You're just totally off the rip. Can I fucking make my closing statement, or you want
to say
interrupt me?
You want to say
you don't want to have the conversation. Why are you fucking talking?
The conversation.
Hold on. Jeremy, have your final statement.
Yeah, this conversation literally gets nowhere. I had a nice conversation with one of your guys yesterday about how his method of doing science doesn't really prove anything, and in the end you're still unsure. With our method, in the end you're left sure and confident, and you have proven something. So I mean, you guys want to go do some bullshit science? Go ahead. You don't follow the scientific method, have a hypothesis experiment, you're doing pseudoscience. The end. Bye.
Conversation.
Sorry, I just want to quickly respond to that, if I may, Chucky. So the problem I've got with that is there is a difference between certainty and confidence. Confidence is what science works on. So it postulates the best explanation based on the evidence at hand. It's a tentative position in most cases. There are certain things you can point to that, within an axiomatic framework is certainty. But generally what we deal with is confidence. And the fact that we can make a prediction to say, we've noticed something, observation, perturbations in the orbit of certain planets, which was Uranus, which was why they postulated Uranus. I've got to stop saying it that way. Then they came up with, if this is the case and it's this far out, what's the prediction on what the orbit should be? And then they say, if this is the orbit, now we've kind of got an idea of where we need to be looking, and now we can start looking for it. And guess what? They found the object. So that's not experimental science, it's an observational piece of science with a hypothesis behind it based on prior observation to support it. If you don't think that's science, then that's a very sad position for you.
And not only is it science, it's natural science. But Jeremy says he has his own brand of science. I'd like to know what his own brand of science has found out absolutely for certain.
It's not my brain. It's the brain where you follow the scientific method and you prove something, and not your willy-nilly bullshit where you make a science fiction prediction, don't prove anything. Maybe you're wrong. Maybe you're right. It changes later down the road. All right, your shit's worthless, and it doesn't prove anything in the end.
I didn't ask for an explanation. I asked you for
one of the hallmarks of pseudoscience. One of the hallmarks of pseudoscience is people talk about proving things.
But I want to know what he thinks he did prove with his science. I'm waiting for those examples.
With my science, you either prove your hypothesis or your null hypothesis. In the end, if done correctly, one of those things will be proven. You will know.
I'm not asking for an explanation. I'm asking for examples of what you've proved with your science. And it doesn't need to be you, Jeremy. It needs to be you, flat earthers.
What?
What is concrete? What is a concrete? Sorry.
With your science.
By following the science, what have humans proved by following the scientific?
No, you said your science.
Yeah,
what have your scientists proven with your scientific method?
Let me just clarify. My science meaning the scientific method that you guys came up with. The one that we do, our science, the real one, the one that proves things, the experimental one, where in the end you definitely have proven something. Not your willy-nilly science fiction prediction bullshit that doesn't prove anything. Not that one.
That seems to be your interpretation of it. Now tell me what you've proven as flat earthers.
I don't know. I haven't really done anything. What have you done? Bro, why don't you go fuck off with I'm not even engaging with you no more if that's the kind of attitude.
Excuse me with your language?
Yeah, I said I'm not gonna fucking engage with you anymore if that's the kind of attitude you're gonna have. What have you done?
No, he asked,
I know you're here to just argue, bro. I know who you are. I'm done with you. Go ahead, chat.
My name is Brad Boychuk. My name is Brad Boychuk from Sudbury. What else do you know about me?
Yeah, chat with someone else. Go ahead. Okay. I'm not even interested.
My first name is
not interesting
Jeremy.
at all.
Guess why I don't
You're
use
not
that
interesting, bro. Go chat with someone else.
So are you leaving?
Paul said something a minute ago. I don't know if you guys heard him, but that was pretty interesting. He posted. Yeah, he posted this.
All this talk of proving things. I mean, one of the characteristics of pseudoscience is that people claim they can prove things.
Yeah.
Well, where's that in the definition of pseudoscience? Because the word prove means to establish something as true. If you're not establishing something as true, I don't know what you're doing, but that would be pseudoscience. Where is the definition of pseudoscience that says that if you're proving things true, that it's pseudoscience? Where did you come up with that absolute absurdity?
Science
it's not an absurdity, and I posted it in the chat if you looked.
Remember that definition I read you, Gio, about proving something, and it literally used an example of proving a hypothesis in science.
It's funny you say your definition of pseudoscience. Did you make the definition, Jeremy?
Bro, I'm not interested in you. Sorry. Okay. You can maybe chat with someone else.
How does it feel to be the third smartest Jeremy on the panel?
Let's not.
You can keep trying to engage me all day if you want. It's just, I'm just not.
I won't. I have a barbecue to go to this afternoon. I'll stop by around 1 or 2.
All right.
Sounds great. I can't wait to see you.
Yeah.
But thanks for coming in hot and being cranky and not wanting to have a conversation, but ranting on about it for a couple minutes.
No, man, you're coming out. What have you proven? You're just here to argue. I hear you every day. You're here to argue like in this weird way. It's weird.
Nate, was I here to argue?
Not with Nate. You guys agree on the shape of Earth. When I started talking, you started getting argumentative, and it's just not interesting. I'm not interested.
No,
I don't know. It seemed like
that's how you remember.
Just trying to ask a question,
I think science is very good at falsifying things. Which is much easier than saying that this is the only way that this can happen. And yeah, you can take something simple like boiling water, which is really, really easy, and that I would have an incredibly high confidence on. But then you've got sort of more complex things like ion exchanges, or resistance through an entire circuit, or the way that lightning strikes the ground, or the expansion of the universe. This is where we get into more weeds, where it's not just, it's either A or B, and that. So which is why we go to the point of falsification rather than verification. And this is part of the scientific method. This is the way it's done. This is how the philosophy of science has developed. And again, Jeremy, there are only two realms in science: the supernatural and the natural.
Yeah, the thing is, when you do science, it is either A or B. You got your hypothesis and your null hypothesis, and if they're formed correctly, it's either going to be A or B when you're done with it. That's how it works. I know.
Now I agree with you.
Hold on, Druss. I let you go on with a huge monologue. Relax. Bro, relax. I let you go on with your huge monologue. Hold on 1 second. I know you said it in the middle of my sentence, though. I'm still going. Is that cool, or? So, I know that's not how you guys do your thing. I know that's not how you guys do your thing. You know, with the correct formation of hypotheses and experiments and the scientific method, but when done correctly, you'll definitely prove something, your null or your alternative hypothesis in the end, because that's how it works. A or B, 0 or 1, the end.
So I'm not talking to Jeremy, but I'll talk to the sane people. When they said they detect a perturbation in Uranus, I think we should keep saying that. Is that not, and saying that means there should be a massive body at this spot? Is that not a hypothesis?
I'd say so.
Nobody cares, dude. Nobody.
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't talking to you, Jeremy.
Yeah, Jeremy, you wasn't talking to you. Also, Brad.
No, it's called
them,
begging the question fallacy. Begging the question. You don't have any proof for any of the garbage theories of balls blowing around balls up there. So you're just using a fallacy to make assumptions and claiming.
Do you think there's balls floating around Uranus?
Hey, did you guys see the poster that Paul had posted, or Gravity Guru, or Curse with a High IQ? Did you see that he posted a poster, characteristics of pseudoscience? I mean, do you guys agree with that poster?
Sorry, I think I didn't see it. Sorry, but somebody just said you don't have proof. Weren't we just talking about the fact that we're not dealing with proof? We're dealing about high probabilities.
Yeah, no, because you practice something that you call science, which is actually pseudoscience, and then you pretend to call it science, and then you lock it in the same category of what real science is.
We are dealing with proof. I just explained. You are dealing with proof, though. I just explained how, in a correctly formed hypothesis and experiment, in the end, you will prove something. Your null or your alternative hypothesis. You will definitely prove one of those things. Talking to anyone that thinks you're not going to. I'm talking to anyone that thinks you're not going to prove something when you're doing science.
No, you won't. You won't provide proof. All you'll do is provide another piece of evidence to support your hypothesis. You won't ever prove it, because
you will prove your null.
Not finished. Because you can never guarantee that you won't someday do an experiment that will find something that will falsify that hypothesis. You cannot guarantee that. That's the reason why we never talk about proofs. We only talk about finding evidence to support a hypothesis. We can falsify something by finding a single piece of evidence that falsifies it, but you can never verify something exclusively.
Yeah, you can verify your alternative hypothesis or your null hypothesis. You can definitely verify one of those. And
no,
I mean,
all you can do is provide evidence.
In the end, hold on a second. In the end, after you verify your hypothesis or your null hypothesis, you're going to know. Another word for verify is prove. That validate, prove, verify. They're all synonyms for each other. And in the end, you will have validated or verified or proven your null or your hypothesis. One or the other will be validated in the end. If
to put it in layman's terms,
if you guys do it your willy-nilly way where you don't do none of this shit, then of course, you can't prove nothing. I'd be running around saying the same thing. Science doesn't prove things because you're not doing.
Can I ask you a question?
Because you're not doing it. If I was you guys, I'd be running around saying science doesn't prove things either because you're not doing it correct. You're doing pseudoscience.
Yeah, cool. You've made your point, bro. Could I ask you a question? When you say prove, though, do you mean prove as an absolute? That whatever answer you get will be the answer forever and it can never change, even in the face of new evidence? Is that what you mean by prove? by proof?
That's not in the definition of proof. Whatever you just said there is not in the definition.
I fully understand, Gio, but I'm asking Jeremy what he means by the word proof.
Validate,
Do you mean
verify.
that,
Do you want some synonyms for the word?
No, but what I just said now is a definition for proof. Do you agree with that? That if I get this answer, it proves it forever, and the answer can never change, even in the face of new evidence. Do you agree with that definition for prove, or are you?
I don't know. I don't agree with that. No, I don't agree with whatever you're saying.
Okay.
I do agree that I'm telling you, Gio, do you have that screenshot I gave that one day of the proof thing where they used it I think it was Merriam-Webster. I'll try to look it up. It's on my other phone, but I mean, they literally use this they use science as an example of how when you prove something.
If proof means verified, then they've proven that balls perturbate Uranus.
This guy.
Yeah, that's great.
Hold on, man. Just the way in which you're using prove, it just makes it makes it meaningless, man. If you're gonna say that you can prove something, but that thing that you've proven can later be shown to not be true, then this renders it.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
That's what you just asked.
Yeah, that's what you just said, Jeremy.
That's
in response to the question I asked.
Well, I'm just not agreeing to what you said. That doesn't mean I.
All right, Jeremy.
I just don't agree with what you said.
Do you agree with what Paul said then? That even though you've done a scientific experiment and you've proved something today, tomorrow you can do an experiment that proves something else, that shows that result you had yesterday isn't concrete. Do you agree that you can prove something today? You can prove fire makes water boil, but I could do an experiment that discovers something tomorrow that says something else. Do you agree with that or not?
I don't know, dude. You got some weird wording. You're trying to get some weird fucked up gotcha. I'm not interested in your bullshit today, Nate. Sorry.
Okay, Jeremy, if you do an experiment
we're
today,
good, bro. I'm not interested in your bullshit gotcha, dude.
I'm trying to simplify.
Interested.
It's not even a gotcha, Jeremy.
Nah, I'm good, dude. Don't repeat it. You're wasting
time you
time.
answered me. No, come on, Jeremy. You're not even being fair, bro. Remember the first time you answered me, I accepted your answer and there was no gotcha, you know. But now it sounds like you going against that first answer you gave. So I just want further clarity. So if you do an experiment today and you get a result, do you feel that result is forever permanent, or you could get a different result tomorrow?
I'm gonna clarify, Nate. I'm not interested in your bullshit gotcha or getting heated on about this. All right, I got shit to do. So,
fuck's sake, either participate in the conversation or don't.
One of us is getting heated.
Hey, Jeremy.
One of us is getting heated.
Would this be closer to it, Jeremy, to establish the existence, truth, or validity of, as by evidence or logic? That'd be pretty close, wouldn't it, Jeremy?
Dan, so maybe I can ask you, because you're a bit more reasonable.
I didn't even hear you. An alarm just went off. I didn't hear what you said.
No. Don't have a crack at Jeremy by saying that I'm more reasonable. That's not.
But you are.
What I said.
But you are. Jeremy's not being reasonable. Right?
Yo, these guys are here to argue, to get gotchas and shit. It's just not. It's not even interesting anymore. Honestly, it's really not.
Then why are you fucking participating?
So to prove something, you've got to establish the existence as by evidence or logic. So the truth of something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think in the context we're using it, scientific. I mean, because the way I understand the word proof, and math and logic, they're kind of conclusions, like certain conclusions based on the premises, but this doesn't really exist in science. So Like you can render something not to be true, but Karl Popper specifically was talking about falsifiability, and if you're saying something's proven, then it's not really. I mean, you can't really falsify something that's proven. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
But regardless,
but
Yeah, with
Ben, so could I ask you maybe? Do you feel that results in science are dogmatic and permanent? Like if you do an experiment today and you get result X, are you open to the possibility that you could do that same experiment or a variation of it and get a different result, or you should always get the same result no matter what? Like there's those, like you can never get new evidence. What do you think?
I think if you observe something, right, and then try to work out a cause effect relationship, I think you should be able to establish and prove what that cause relationship is. Now, if you observe something, right, water boiling, for argument's sake, right, with the application of heat, right, you can prove that the application of heat to water will make it boil, right? Now, that may not be the only thing that makes water boil, right? But in the natural conditions that we observe on a day-to-day basis, right, that's the only thing that will make water boil.
Okay, so if I make the hypothesis that heat is what makes water boil, and then I test that, I would see water boil when I apply heat to it, right? And we would say I've established my cause and effect relationship. I have my results, and according to you and Jeremy, I've proved that heat makes water boil, right? And then, are we now saying that
the application of
that
heat
it is
to water will make it boil 100%? Yep.
And now we are saying that is set in stone. That I can never have a situation where that is not the case. Is that what you guys are now saying? In line with my hypothesis. Yes, in line with my hypothesis.
In our natural environment, yeah, you can't make water.
Whatever you mean by that.
Well, just that
whatever
in our natural environment here on Earth. Yeah,
here on Earth.
Here on Earth.
Here on Earth. Yeah. All environments on Earth are natural, right? As long as it's on. Okay, cool. So if I boil water on Earth, or if I apply heat to water on Earth, it'll boil. That is my hypothesis, and we've proven this to be true. According to you, it's been proven. I haven't found evidence for it. I've proven it. Now, what if I apply heat to water tomorrow and it doesn't boil? Have I disproved it? What if I take this water, deep underground where there's extreme pressure, and I apply heat to it and it doesn't?
Yeah.
Then my hypothesis is wrong.
Apply more heat to it. You'll get it.
I apply more heat and it still doesn't boil.
Yeah, you will.
Then what?
Yeah, you will.
What if it doesn't? Yeah, but just work with me, Ben. So come on. I'm not trying to argue with you. I'm just trying to get an understanding as to what you guys
trying
mean
to
by
get a
proving.
gotcha.
I'm not trying to get a gotcha. I'm literally telling you, I don't want to get a gotcha, Ben. So I just want to understand what you guys mean by proven, because there's a bit of ambiguity right now. We don't understand what you and Jeremy mean when you guys say proven.
No, my point here is what we observe naturally. Now, if you want to dig a tunnel, right?
But that's on Earth, Ben.
Yeah, but if you want to dig a tunnel supposedly on your ball that goes down 6,000 odd kilometers, right, to extreme pressures and all that sort of stuff, which you're never going to do in the first place.
That's not natural anymore.
Well,
even though it's on Earth, and you and I both agree.
But you're not going to do it. You're not going to do it. And even if you do it, right? Even if you do it, if you apply enough heat to it, it will boil.
This is the problem now. You are too afraid of a gotcha, Ben. So that's why you're being flippity floppy. And I'm not trying to catch you out on anything. Yes, you are, because we had just. because number one, we had just agreed it's a natural environment if you do it on Earth. Now all of a sudden it's not natural even if we dig deep into Earth. Irregardless of the shape of Earth, even on a flat Earth, you can dig down into the ground. But all of a sudden, because we do that, and because I won't actually do it, you know, like it's a bit difficult, Banter. So I'm just gonna pull back because I can see you and Jeremy have your guards up for reasons I don't understand. So I'm gonna pull out. All right.
Are you going to say that if you don't apply enough heat to it, it's
That's not what I'm trying to say at all, Banso. I'm just trying to understand what you mean by proven. I just want to know, if I do an experiment today, do you have this idea in your head that we can never, ever, ever, ever get a different result in the future if we do that same experiment? That's all I'm trying to understand. And you guys don't want to answer that simple question.
No, I don't think that in our natural world, even if you dig down this fictitious hole, that if you don't apply heat to the water, it ain't going to boil. I don't think you're ever going to find that.
If we had a situation where you didn't need to apply heat and the water boiled,
as in a vacuum.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I just said. In our natural, we don't have a vacuum in our natural.
Create a vacuum.
But you don't. Yeah, you don't even need a vacuum. A near perfect vacuum, water will start boiling. But according to you, that's not natural environment. Even though we agreed anything that happens on Earth, you know, this is what I'm saying, Ben. So, and even though it was just an analogy, an example I was given, just to gain understanding from you, like you don't want to work with it.
No, I'm working with you now. The higher you go, like you go up of a mountain or something like that, Nate, right? You'll have to apply quite as much heat to that water, will you? And you'll get it to boil. That's why when you go to have a cup of tea up on a mountain, it makes a really shit cup of tea, in my opinion, right? Because it's not at the perfect temperature, right? But you don't have to apply quite as much heat, but you still have to apply heat, right? Just not quite as much. Here at ground level, it's around about 100 degrees Celsius.
Yeah, but Ben, so I was just using heat and water as an example because it's the simplest example I could think of. You know, heating water doesn't even matter. What the real question is, Banso, if you do an experiment today, do you believe the results you get are permanent, forever, dogmatic, and you can never do that same experiment and get a different result in the future? Is that what you and Jeremy mean when you say prove?
Well, I think if
I just want to understand that.
I think if you follow things through thoroughly, I think you can prove things. That's what I think. Yeah, I think you can.
Okay, so that's what you guys do mean by proof. That if you do an experiment extremely thoroughly, you did it 100% correct, that result you get should be the same result no matter what we learn in the future. No matter what new evidence presents itself in the future, I should not be getting a different result. That's what you guys mean by proof, right?
Well, not if you conduct the experiment properly. No, you've covered all your bases, haven't you?
Okay. All right. Okay, now I understand what you mean by proof. I'll back away.
Yeah, like if you cover all your bases, you should be pretty thorough, shouldn't you? No.
We should, Banso, but the problem is that, you know, we can't tell the future. We don't know that tomorrow we might discover something that changes the conclusions we came to today. That's the point Paul was trying to make, and that's you know, the crux of science. That's why we say science can't prove anything, because we don't know what the future holds.
Yeah, a good example of that is the resolution of measurements. Like back in olden days, we had instruments that couldn't measure things to anywhere near the accuracy that we can measure things today. And some of the scientific discoveries we've made have literally come out of the fact that we can now measure things more accurately, because previously those phenomena were hidden by the inaccurate measurements of yesteryear.
Yeah, so if you prove something, you now have the truth, right? Can you have the truth in you know what I mean? When you do science, we're looking for the truth, right?
Yeah, so when they first started looking for spectra in gases, they looked and they found that there were certain spectral lines for certain elements, right? So they jotted those down and made drawings of them and made measurements of them, etc. That's the truth, right? That's what they saw. And yet, when they made measurements that were more accurate later on, they found that some of those spectral lines could actually be split under certain circumstances into twins. That the one spectral line, under certain circumstances, split into two very close spectral lines. This was a new discovery that they hadn't observed before.
It's great. You're talking about a measurement. I don't know what was.
So what was the truth? Was the truth the first thing they observed, where there was only one spectral line? Was that the truth? Was the truth the thing that they first observed and always observed? Or was it the second thing they observed later on when they had more opportunities to do different experiments on the same phenomena?
Science, what was your hypothesis for this?
I don't care. The thing is that the first thing that I'm still talking. You asked me something and then you talked over me. Fuck, Jeremy.
You told me you don't care.
Again, you're still talking over me, right? So no, I don't care.
Why
because
would we even...
again, Jeremy, just hold on. Fuck. You complain about people butting into you, right? Let me have my say. So all I'm saying is that they observed again and again and again the single spectrum line, right? Was that the truth? Is that something that they've proven? Because later on they found that that one spectral line could be split into two. So is that now the new proven thing? What was proved before?
Okay, I asked you if you were doing science here. We're talking about proving things with science. I asked you if this was science. You said you don't care. Obviously, I don't know what conversation you're having with who, but we're talking about proving things with science, and you don't care if you're doing science or not. So, I mean, why would we even listen to this, whatever else you're saying?
Because it is science, Jeremy.
You don't even care if we're doing science.
Anyone can recognize that that is science.
Break me off with your hypothesis for this spectral line.
You don't need to have a hypothesis to do science. Sure, you can have a hypothesis to do an experiment, but an experiment is not what defines science.
Yeah.
Science is more than just doing experiments.
That's why you guys can't prove things, because you don't follow the scientific method. You don't have a hypothesis. You don't have an experiment. This is why you guys say you can't prove anything.
Again, the scientific method relates to experiments. Experiments aren't the same as science.
Not following the scientific method. You're completely off the rails with this, which is why you're running around saying science doesn't prove things, right? Because you're not following the scientific method and doing it correctly.
Again, the scientific method relates to experimentation. Experimentation isn't what science is all about. Experimentation is a part of science, but it doesn't define what science is.
Pseudoscience is when you don't follow the scientific method, right?
No.
That's what a lot of your people think, and the definition of it is when you do it disregarding the scientific method. So
again, that's false, because the scientific method relates to experimentation. Again, you can do science without doing experimentation.
If you want to find a cause and effect relationship, you'd want to follow the scientific method, though, wouldn't you? If
you follow a scientific method. You follow a scientific method. There's no such thing as the scientific method.
Well, you try and work out that cause and effect, right? And by doing that, you follow a thorough scientific method, which is pretty, crystal clear from any definition I've ever Googled or looked up. They all pretty much seem to be pretty much the same. They have,
So it's the 4-step one, the 5-step one, the 6-step one, or the 7-step one, or is it the 8-step one, or is it the one that's only got 3 steps? No, there's not one scientific method, and no, they're not crystal clear. They're quite a varied definitions of scientific methods, and that's the reason why most scientists actually don't claim there to be a scientific method. Right? This is something that we teach at primary school and secondary school level to introduce people to science. It's not something that real scientists actually follow.
It absolutely is something real scientists follow. As far as there being different steps, some of them are just clerical steps and logistical steps. The important parts are observation, hypothesis, experiment. Those are three crucial steps that are always going to be there because they know that you need these things in order to prove something. Without those, you don't prove jack shit. You're doing, fly by your ass, willy-nilly bullshit science that doesn't prove anything if you're not doing those three things.
Yeah.
Try to get fucking cute. I can't stand this shit. I don't know who's fucking paying attention to what's going on. It's fucking obnoxious.
When you stop short at observations itself, you're really stopping short. You're not following it all the way through.
Yeah, but if you have
or patterns, you're not really haven't really established anything other than a pattern.
Yeah, but if you have three people, one is a observational scientist and one is a experimental scientist and the other is a theoretical scientist, do you have three scientists in the room or do you have just one scientist?
You don't have to form a hypothesis to collect data. Collecting data is a part of science too, and you can do experiments purely just to collect data.
Well, if those three guys are in the room, there's one guy that's going to be able to prove something in reality. The other two aren't going to be able to prove jack shit.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to make just an example, like, if the Lamborghini or Ferrari company are building, let's use Ferrari. So Ferrari's building a car, and they're using the scientific method. They're testing, they're using dependent and independent variables to test different materials, different types of rubber for the tires, different types of metal for the pistons, etc., to try to get it to perform a certain way. They're trying to prove the performance, and they're not just willy-nilly like, oh, we'll test this today and maybe it does something, and it's just kind of pointing towards something. Then today we'll test it, maybe we'll get a different answer. That's not how that works. When they're building something like that, whether it's a Ferrari or a Formula One race car or whatever, it is being tested and verified, and you're proving the certain materials to a certain extent that they can get a particular performance that's consistent. It's not just like a willy-nilly set of hypotheses and ideas that maybe points towards it maybe will work tomorrow and then it maybe won't work the next day, and we're just sort of guessing. That's not what it is.
How did they quantify the properties of those materials that they're using?
Well, at the end of the day, they're using dependent and independent variables to test the materials against a particular set of circumstances, and then proving that those materials and then putting them into action into whatever the final performance,
Did they need a hypothesis to quantify the properties of those materials?
Sure.
Really?
Yeah. In terms of how they're going to work with the overall machine, yeah.
No, that's not what I asked. That this material you're misrepresenting what I actually asked. The question I asked was,
really
did they need a hypothesis to test the properties of those materials? I didn't say anything about relating it to the construction of a car.
If you look at the Chuck method here and just what courses are offered in which division of the school, it's pretty hilarious. They got music here listed in the science department, music cognition, statistics, visual research and visual sciences, sustainability, environmental sustainability. If you click it off and just do the School of Arts and Sciences, you get accounting, African American studies, sign languages, anthropology, Arabic, art history.
What is this for?
This is where Chuck said that he went to the school of Rochester in was that Massachusetts, is it? I can't remember. anyway, wherever it's at, and he quoted them as having astronomy in their science department. Therefore, it's science. Their science department covers lots of topics.
Yeah, I don't have any problem in calling astronomy an observational science. I got no problems with that at all, personally myself. And I don't think.
Yeah. The thing is, they're trying to. They have to realize that their shit doesn't prove anything, and our shit does. Like they're not willing to take admit that. They just want to say science doesn't prove things when we have a particular set of instructions that's science, the scientific method that will prove something if done correctly.
It's in New York, actually.
I suppose, Jeremy, you prove patterns observing these things. Like you could prove that these patterns are consistent time and time. This cycle that goes round and round and round and round. You could probably prove that.
Yeah, you could. Oh, you could prove with observational shit. You could prove something. I could watch chickens lay eggs and be like, all right, eggs come from chickens just by looking at them. You know what I mean? So, I mean, even then you can prove things, but sometimes you can't prove anything and you're fucking dead wrong on it. You know what I mean? So, and even in their own bullshit, yeah, sure, you could prove things just by looking at it.
Yeah.
But they won't admit that you could prove things. They don't think you could prove anything in reality. And when it comes down to it, they'll take it to some weird place.
Yeah, why chickens lay eggs is different to chickens lay eggs. I observe chickens laying eggs, but why they lay eggs, you're closer to that answer just by looking at it.
There's a difference between a law and a theory, then, huh?
It seems like science is anything you want unless you're a flat earther. Then nothing is science. You're not allowed to say what is and what isn't science.
Now, if you're explaining the fact that chickens lay eggs, just you're describing it somewhat, that'd be a law. And if you are, thoroughly given a process for how it's done and the mechanisms that bring it about and all this kind of stuff in detail, then you end up with a theory.
How do you decide when to stop as far as, determining cause? Like if heat causes water to boil, well, what causes heat? How do you know that's really not what's making the water boil? And then what's causing that? What's causing that? It's a never-ending thing. It's just philosophy.
Never-ending thing. That's right. Science is never-ending. Yeah.
Right. So it's just basically philosophy. It's what people in the establishment decide. Okay, this is where the buck stops for now.
No, I don't think nobody decides that it ever stops, and it doesn't ever stop. The only time it seems to be settled until something else comes up is when that happens. Whenever it's, whenever there's an answer that is, so far the best answer. There's no other better answers, and that answer still sits.
Best answer according to who? According to what theory? How are you wording this theory? Which words are you using?
It satisfies, it satisfies the explanation, and it also has no, there's no competing idea that's competing with it, and surpassing it.
What if the competing idea is equally as unfalsifiable as the other one?
If it's unfalsifiable, then it's not the answer.
Right.
It's not science if it's unfalsifiable. Yeah.
Like
You
if
guys
I
think Newton like performed an experiment to prove his laws of motion? Wow, Jerry, like how do you think Newton came up with his laws of motion?
He got bumped in the head.
You
by
think
an
laws
apple.
go through? You think they do experiments on laws? That's how laws come about.
I don't know. I'm asking you. I'm asking you guys. Like that's the exact question I just asked you, Jeremy. You can't ask my question right back.
Yeah,
Do you
no,
think
you don't
Newton
do
did
experiments.
experiments to prove his laws?
You don't do experiments on laws. No, you could try, but that's not how it works.
So how do we come up with scientific laws, Jeremy?
you just
And
make them
why
up.
do you consider them part of science?
You just make
Do you
them up.
consider laws part of science?
I wouldn't consider them part of. Go ahead. It's not it.
No, I was going to say his first law is unfalsifiable. An object in motion will stay in motion unless acted upon by another force. There's no object in that paradigm that isn't under the influence of some force. So there's no way to falsify that.
Yes.
So Newton's laws aren't part of science. His laws of motion are not scientific.
I'm just saying that they're not falsifiable.
Yeah, but I want to understand now. If you say they're not falsifiable, do you still consider them as part of science? Can we still use them in experiments and when we sciencing?
Sure, if you choose that as the paradigm that you're working in, sure, but someone else could choose not to.
But who chooses not to? I've never seen anyone build anything and not, use Newton's laws of motion.
I could build shit without knowing his theories. My kid could build something
Like
without. He could build a fucking tower, man, out of fucking Legos.
Yeah, come on, that's Legos. Come on, man, Jerry. Come on.
Hold on a second, because Jerry said something a second ago.
Come on, Jerry. Lego.
Hold on, man. But he said a second ago about Newton's law. It's his first law. I forget what you said, but yeah, an object remain at rest or in uniform motion unless something compels it otherwise.
Yeah.
This is exactly an example of a law that is not proven because it's not a conclusion in science. However, it's been shown to be true every single time, and the only reason why it's considered a law is because it's not yet been shown not to be true. So it doesn't reach that level just because it's been proven. It reaches that level because it hasn't been falsified and it's been shown to be true in every every single time. But it's still available to be falsified.
The way to falsify it, just quickly, the way to falsify it would be to show an object, apply a force to it, and have it not move.
I was going to say, how could you tell if it's true or not if there's no such thing as at rest? An object at rest, there is no at rest.
Well, that's only half of the statement. You realize that, right?
You guys
Philosophy.
hate that word prove. You hate that word prove. You run away from that word prove, right?
Oh, yeah.
But the simple definition of a scientific law is a phenomena that the scientific community has found to be provably true. I don't know why you guys run from the word prove like little schoolgirls running from the boy in the playground.
Well, for the same thing, Bandy. I don't know why you guys run away from the. I don't know why you guys run away from not using the word prove. I mean, you literally insist that things are proved. Why is that?
The reason why I can tell you why bandsaw. I could tell you why bandsaw. The reason they're doing that is because they're doing this science that changes, doesn't prove anything. So that's why they're terrified of that word for some reason, because their science doesn't prove things. There's this bullshit outer space pseudoscience.
No science proves things.
I hate to be the fly. I hate to be the fly in the ointment, but Newton's laws have been falsified, so they're not proven in any way, shape, or form. There are certain circumstances in which Newton's laws don't actually hold and can be shown to be false. So no, they're not the Holy Grail or the absolute truth in any way whatsoever.
Really? Something in motion will stay in motion unless acted upon? Has that been proven incorrect?
That's not the only one of Newton's laws, Bandy.
How many does he have? I've got no idea.
He has 3 of them. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah, so which
for hundreds of
one of
years.
Newton's laws are wrong? Which one's wrong?
You have to memorize the doctrine, Ben, so you'll be tested next week. So.
Okay.
F equals MA.
Of
F
these
equals MA is wrong.
these alchemists, fake alchemists.
So you're saying F equals MA, Newton's second law, is incorrect?
Yeah, you need to add in the Lorentz factor for it to be correct. Because relativity.
Oh my lordy lord.
So Newton, so Einstein replaced Newton's second law. You're saying?
Not replaced, refined.
Replaced it.
So is Newton's second law correct?
So it is correct for low speeds.
And
But the closer to light speed you get, the more wrong it is.
Yeah, and you think a law is not supposed to work everywhere?
Sorry, I told you this before, man. They have certain domains, and
according to Andrea Ghez, the 2020 Nobel Physics Prize winner. Laws are supposed to work everywhere.
Yeah. Hold on, Jeremy. It works everywhere, but not under all conditions. That's
not everywhere.
Thing. No,
so not
everywhere, but not under all conditions. Do you know the difference?
Yeah, it's not. According to Andrea Ghez, that's not what she said.
No,
she said the laws are supposed to work everywhere.
Yeah, and it does. It works everywhere.
No, it doesn't.
It works everywhere. Yes.
Everywhere except that place you can show me it not working, which is somewhere, right?
No,
is that place where it doesn't
works
work
here?
That place where it doesn't work, is that somewhere?
No.
It's nowhere. The place where it doesn't work is nowhere.
Yes, it works everywhere.
The place where it doesn't work. Make it not work in my house.
There is no place that it doesn't work. It works everywhere.
So it works everywhere. So Newton's second law, F equals MA, works everywhere.
It works everywhere, correct.
Okay, so it's always correct. Never fails.
No, I'm saying it's correct everywhere.
Yep, never fails. Everywhere it's always good, so it's always correct.
Correct. Everywhere it's correct.
Yep. Somebody just said it was incorrect. Newton and Einstein. Einstein was the correct one.
He didn't say it's incorrect somewhere. He said it's incorrect under some conditions, but it's still correct everywhere.
And those conditions happen somewhere, right?
No.
Do those conditions happen somewhere, or do those conditions happen nowhere?
They can happen at anywhere.
This is dumb.
But it works.
This is stupid. Yeah. Obviously, those conditions happen somewhere. And if
you just don't understand English.
Obviously, those conditions happen somewhere. And if Newton's second law doesn't work in that place, it's not everywhere. And according to Andrea Ghez, 2020 Nobel Physics Prize winner, laws are supposed to work everywhere.
Show me one place where it doesn't work then. Can you tell me a single place it doesn't work?
Said it didn't work. I didn't say it didn't work. He said it didn't work.
I'm saying it works everywhere.
Well, somebody just told me Newton's second law was incorrect and it didn't work.
Hey, but you guys are talking about locations and you guys are talking about conditions.
Yeah, that's why Jeremy doesn't understand the difference between a location and a condition.
Jeremy doesn't understand. Fuck off, man.
Do you get the difference between saying that it works everywhere, but just not under some conditions?
Equals MA. Work everywhere.
I asked you a question. Do you see the difference between it
MA
working
supposed
everywhere?
To work everywhere? It doesn't.
Do you see the difference between something working everywhere and not working under certain conditions?
Conditions. What are the conditions? F equals MA. It's just a formula. F equals MA.
The conditions are speed. If you're close to light speed, it doesn't make it doesn't work anymore. but it
That
still
ain't
works
nowhere in F
everywhere.
equals MA. In F equals MA doesn't
Correct.
mention anything about speed at all. It says
And
F
that's why it's
equals MA.
incorrect. And that's why it's incorrect,
It
because it
doesn't. It's
does change
incorrect
over
because it
speed.
doesn't work everywhere. We know.
No, it works how do you not get this? It works everywhere, just not under some conditions.
Those conditions are. If those conditions happen somewhere, then it doesn't work everywhere. This is
But
fucking stupid.
there's no position in which it doesn't work. It works everywhere. There's no position you can show me where it doesn't work. Does anyone want to help Jeremy understand this? Geo,
No, I
Banzai, anyone
understand.
who's
Stop
on his
telling me I
side,
don't understand.
understand the
Stop
difference
telling me
between
I don't understand.
everywhere and conditions.
Stop telling me I don't understand. You don't understand. Andrea Ghez, 2020 Nobel Physics Prize winner. Laws are supposed to work everywhere.
And they do.
Don't. If there's somewhere, shut up. If there's somewhere they don't work, guess what? It doesn't.
Yeah.
It's not a law. It's been shown to be false.
There is no position in which they do not work, so it fulfills that requirement.
When you're moving as fast as whatever you said of almost light speed, it doesn't work. That's a place that it can happen at, not a
No, that's
law.
not a place, that's a condition.
Yes, that's the condition happening in a place. If the law is supposed to work everywhere. Show me a place where this law doesn't work.
There is no
F equals
place
MA
in which
doesn't
it doesn't
mention
work.
jack shit. F equals MA doesn't mention jack shit about speed.
And that's exactly why
It's
it's
not a
wrong.
specified condition in which F equals MA is supposed to be happening in or not happening in.
And that's exactly why it's wrong, because it doesn't account for speed.
Yeah, we know it's wrong because it doesn't work everywhere. Like Andrea Ghez said, it's supposed to work
It
everywhere.
works everywhere. It works
It doesn't
everywhere.
work everywhere.
It
There's a
does,
place
just
where I
not
can
under
go.
all conditions.
It doesn't work everywhere because there's a place where I can go almost as fast as light speed and it won't work. Guess where? Guess
Wait,
where that
is
is?
speed,
It's a place.
is speed a
Guess
place?
where that is? Guess where that is? It's a place somewhere.
Jeremy, is speed
So
a
not
place?
everywhere. You're not even listening, dude. Forget it. We're done.
A place.
Yeah, but Jeremy, in that same place, you could have things that aren't
Over
moving
me the
at
whole
light
time.
speed,
We're
right?
done. You're not even listening, dude.
Is speed
No,
a place,
it's you that's
Jeremy?
not listening, Jeremy, because I actually pointed out that in that same place you could have things that aren't moving at light speed, and Newton's laws would work for those things. See the difference between location and circumstances?
Going against your own. You go against your own people. You're just anti-flat earthers here to argue, try to make fun of us, tell us we don't understand. It's honestly sickening. If we had a room here, shut the fuck up when I'm talking. If we had a room here where you guys couldn't go, I would be in that room. Can't stand. I've come to a point where I can't stand this bullshit. It's bullshit.
You don't have to be here, Jeremy.
You don't want to participate
in the conversation, don't, Jeremy, but don't come in here complaining about what the conversation is, right? Clearly, I pointed out that you could have the same location with an object that's not moving at the speed of light, and Newton's laws would work. But in that same location, we could have something moving at the speed of light, in which case Newton's laws don't work. It's not the location, it's the circumstances at that location that determine whether Newton's laws work or not in that location.
And we're not disagreeing with the person. We're disagreeing with your interpretation of what she's saying.
And there's no circumstance in F equals MA that says it needs to be moving at the speed of light. That's not a circumstantial situation that's detailed in the law. So therefore, it doesn't work everywhere because moving at near the speed of light, it's going to happen. And Andrea Ghez says you're supposed to work everywhere. I know you don't want to disagree. I know you don't want to agree with the 2020. Hold on, man. I know you don't want to agree with the 2020 physics Nobel Prize winner for some reason, which is fucking weird. It's fucking weird that you don't want to agree with this person. I know. Because you're anti-flat earthers. You don't care about the mainstream, the model, what your priests, your high scientists are saying. I know you don't care. You're just here to argue with us.
Well, if we have to believe what Andrea Ghez says, she also says the Earth's not flat. End of argument, I guess. See how ridiculous that argument is, Jeremy?
Yeah, it's called the all or nothing fallacy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just fuck.
You seem to believe that speed is a place. We're not disagreeing with her. We're disagreeing with your false interpretation of what she's saying.
It's not a false interpretation. If you go if you travel near the speed of light, is that happening in a place in the universe? Yes or no?
Yeah, but in that same place, there could be things that aren't traveling at the speed of light, right? It's not the location, it's the circumstances. Again, it's not the place, Jeremy. It's what's happening in that place.
So if we're going fast as light speed, that's happening in a place. And Andrea Ghez said that these laws are supposed to work everywhere. Every place.
Yeah, there are also things in that same place that aren't
work.
moving at the
Hold
speed
on,
of
man.
light,
Hold on
right?
a second. So you have a place where it doesn't work. Do you agree?
Incorrect.
No.
So it works everywhere. There's no place where this doesn't work.
Correct. There's no place.
When you move at this, what happens when you move near the speed of light? Does it work then?
Speed is not a place. It's a condition.
When you move near the speed of light.
Speed is not a place. It's a condition.
I know. Can you follow me? Does it work when
Can
you
you
move near
follow
the speed of
me?
light? Yeah, I hear you. I hear what you're saying. I'm about to prove you wrong. Does it work when you're moving near the speed of light?
No.
And so it doesn't work when you're moving near the speed of light. Does that take place? Does that happen in a place in the universe?
No.
Outside the universe? I'm fucking done.
No.
Yes, it happens at a yes,
so
dude.
stupid.
Dude, the answer to your question. The answer to your question is yes,
I'm done
man.
with this. This is goofball shit.
No, it can happen at any place. There's no specific place in which this happens. No, he's wrong. He's not using English correctly.
Fuck off.
Let's just move forward with having an honest conversation, because I think it's getting annoying for him.
He's not actually being honest with the conversation. He's not listening to the.
Don't
so
tell me
Bansar,
dishonest. He is being honest, right?
So Bansar, do you think speed is a place?
Don't call him being dishonest. That's not acceptable.
So do you agree that speed is a place then, Bansar?
Do I believe that speed is a place?
Yeah.
No, I believe speed is speed.
Exactly, and that's what he's ignoring. I'm asking him, is speed a place? And he's ignoring it. That's him being dishonest.
Well, I don't know what Jeremy has looked into and what information he's looking at. I've got no idea. But to me personally, speed is the speed of an object from point A to point B.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not a place.
Yeah.
So something can work everywhere, but not work at certain speeds. They're not exclusive. Exactly.
Yeah, but
Okay,
don't
good.
try and.
And we agree.
I can see what you're doing too. You're trying to pit me up against Jeremy type of thing.
Oh, hold on, Bansal. Hold on a second. The dishonest part saying the speed. The dishonesty is saying speed doesn't happen in a place in the universe. That's fucking stupid and dishonest.
Correct.
Talk shit about me after I leave. Go fuck yourself, man. You're being so fucking dishonest. It's obvious to anyone listening. And then you're going to sit here and project your dishonesty onto me.
Dishonest, but not the other side. That's not right.
Yeah.
It literally makes me sick, dude. This shit makes me sick.
But speed doesn't happen in a place.
Did anyone say it did, Gummy Bear? Did anybody say that it did?
Jeremy's asking if it does. I'm saying no, and then he's getting angry that I'm saying no. So yeah, he is implying it.
He's asking if the event is happening someplace in the universe.
Yeah, it doesn't. Speed doesn't happen in a place. Speed is a change in place.
Well, I don't think he said that, or I don't think anyone said that.
Regardless, I don't think that's getting anywhere just with it's semantical. I mean, I can read what Andrea Ghez was saying, and then maybe that would help, because she says clearly that the laws of physics, including gravity, because she was testing to see if Einstein's theory was consistent, because it does describe how it changes with speed and all that different stuff. So she's saying that it should work everywhere in the universe, near black holes, not near black holes. So that's all she was testing when she said that. When we talk about things like Newton's law of gravitation, we now know that that law is limited to certain domains, certain conditions. So if you use different conditions, you can't use that anymore. But it's not location specific; it's condition specific, which I think is Gummy Bear's point. Yeah.
There's no condition in F equals MA that says it has to be happening in this certain condition. Okay, first of all. Second of all, if you're going a speed, if you're traveling a speed, that is happening in the universe. Okay, I don't know if you're traveling a speed not in the universe. Weird. But if you're going a speed, that event takes place in the universe. And Andrea Ghez tells us that these laws are supposed to work everywhere in the universe. Okay, so if there's a place where you're doing this speed in the universe, guess what?
Maybe it would be helpful to actually have the exact quotation from Andrea Ghez.
And the answer is it doesn't happen in a place. That's the answer.
Yeah, so speed doesn't happen. We don't travel speed in a place.
Correct.
Where do
Speed
we
doesn't
travel?
happen
Where
in
do
a
we
place.
travel? Okay, where do we travel a speed? And not a place?
Speed is a change in place. So it's not in a
which happens in a multitude of places in the universe, right? Those change of places happen in a multitude of places inside the universe. This is fucking silly. No, not in the universe.
No. No over many places.
See now,
We
I
don't-
see now. I see now. Now you're saying speed doesn't happen in a place. Well, of course it happens in a place. Right? You can't have speed if it doesn't happen from place to place, in a multiple of places, from one place to another. So speed has to happen in a place.
Over places.
This
It
is
doesn't
just
happen
fucking
in a
stupid.
place.
No,
This is
in
so
a
silly.
place. In a place. Has to happen in a place.
The reach.
Okay, so can you take?
This is a
Can you
fucking reach.
Can you pick one single place and tell me how you get speed from one single place?
This is fucking silly.
I think this is not
The reach, the lengths you're willing to go for this anti-flat Earth shit. Amazing.
But speed just doesn't happen in a place. It's a change of place. That's what speed is.
Yes, it happens in a bunch of places in the universe. So there's definitely an area it happens in, right? Inside the universe?
No.
Oh, no. You know what?
Fuck,
I can
dude.
put I could actually put a basketball on the ground and spin it, and it won't change place, but it'll have a certain speed of rotation. Right there, it's not changing places at all.
Well, yeah, the translational place, correct. But if you pick one point on the surface, at one point it's in like one direction, and at another point it's in another direction. So the outside of the ball is changing place.
This is a fucking waste of time with this guy. Seriously. He's saying
Just like
speed.
getting into these. Sorry, Jeremy, I spoke you.
I mean, we all know speed happens in a place, in a multitude of places, in an area, a volume, whatever you want to call it. Obviously, speed happens in the universe. He's trying to say it doesn't. I don't understand.
It
Where do
happens
we do?
in the universe, correct? I will agree with
Well,
that.
that's what you've been denying for the past 20 minutes. I know. This is your bullshit fucking tactics.
No.
Fuck.
Yo,
Jeremy, what's wrong, bro?
I'm not saying it doesn't happen in the universe. Of course, it happens in the universe. Everything we know of happens in the universe.
Well,
I think
it's
you guys are
obvious what's
arguing.
wrong. It's obvious.
You guys are kind of arguing the most, I don't know, unimportant part of the argument.
What is the argument? Like, Kosher, what is the argument?
They were just talking about how Andrea Ghez had stated that that laws should work everywhere in the universe, or as she stated specifically, laws of physics, including gravity, should be valid everywhere in the universe. And then they're just arguing whether or not that means at a place or under certain conditions.
Yeah, and my argument is that a place it works in all places. It just doesn't work under all conditions, like speeds. And since speeds aren't a place, then of course it still works everywhere. It just doesn't work under all conditions.
Yeah, but that's just a dull part of the conversation, especially once it goes around once and twice, and you know.
Yeah, that's a silly thing to argue about.
Doesn't matter. If you don't have a place, you can't have speed. The speed is non-existent without a place.
Whatever that means, Ben. So whatever that means, I don't see what arguing about that is gonna accomplish.
That is logic. That is logic. 101.
Cool. And now what? Like I also feel there are some arguments both sides get into, which are a bit silly.
Well, then
You know?
move on.
Yeah,
Bring
let's
up
move
something
on,
else.
man.
Bring up boiling water or something. That.
How about Coriolis effect?
Yeah, let's talk about Coriolis.
Frames of reference.
I was seriously thinking Coriolis before.
Yeah, we could probably do 8 hours on Coriolis, I think, right now.
Right. Yeah, we could get in a whole week's worth of Coriolis.
Yeah. Let's a frame of reference.
Now it was good for like the rest of the month, Coriolis. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you guys will bring up anyway, Nate. You'll still be wrong. We know this.
We'll always just be wrong. Yeah,
Well,
I feel like it's.
Go ahead.
I feel like especially for you and Jeremy, Ben. So you guys, it's not about finding the truth. It's just about being right. You know, these gotchas and
you got
getchas.
to be absolutely.
I don't know. Because the things you guys say, you know, you'll always be wrong, no matter what. What
truth have you found? What truth have you found?
I'm trying to find truth, but you and Jeremy don't want to work with us. You guys just want to be right.
Oh, see, all you want to do is you just want to go to bloody black holes and blue shift and red shift and relativity and all this type of stuff, which is just so unprovable. It's not even funny. All right.
We don't have to go there.
It shouldn't even be put in the class of pseudoscience. It should just be called pseudo. Period. No science. Right?
Yeah, I mean...
You should be insulted by it, even having the word science after the word pseudo.
Yeah. I just feel you and Jeremy shouldn't worry about always being right all the time. It's okay to be wrong, and it's when you were wrong that you learn the most, you know?
Well, the trouble is we're not wrong.
Okay.
Well, Bansa, have you come up with any new arguments within the last few years? Or any new evidence?
I have my argument. The law of water, Gummy. Right? The law of water.
The bandy water?
Yeah.
You get it? Bandy.
Yeah.
I'm so funny.
Oh, bandy water. Yeah, you should tell these guys about your law of water, Benito.
What are you talking about? I think Gummy's already heard it, actually.
Which one? The law of water?
Yeah, the law of water. Yeah, you were here.
I don't think I don't remember it, but I'm sure as soon as you say it, I'll know it.
Yeah, you wanted to try and bring in forces and all that sort of stuff. Does it act to a force and all that sort of stuff?
Oh yeah, because my law of water is that water will conform to the forces acting upon it. That's my law of water.
Yeah.
Come on, Bandy, weren't you the one that came up with the gas bag hypothesis at the South Pole?
Gas bag.
You remember that, Paul?
I do, quite distinctly. Do you want to share that with your colleagues here, Bandy?
Yeah, please share it.
Yeah, I can't remember the details as clearly as what you do, but I do remember going down some track, actually. Refresh my memory, Paul. I'll definitely agree with you.
It was to do with why the South Pole couldn't be seen in certain circumstances, why there was a cloud layer over the South Pole, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, is that refreshing your memory? You want to elaborate?
Yeah. And all the secret mining and stuff that they do underground with the secret military and all that sort of stuff, and they're collecting all the gases, and then periodically they let them go into a big cloud of gas that's released into the atmosphere. It was something along those lines, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
something like Lemon's
What?
swamp gas theory at Pontchartrain, maybe.
Oh, maybe.
Crazy
Some fellow
ideas, man.
thought that I was Max Egan, and did I have any ideas on Antarctica and what they're up to? I think that's how I came up with that that gas bag theory.
Yeah.
Gee, that's going back a few years now, Paul. That one.
Quite a few years, actually. Yeah.
Uh,
So don't say you haven't come up with anything new, Bandy, because that counts as something no one else has
there we
come up
go.
with.
Cool.
I think we talked about how to push a rope for months, didn't we?
Oh, on crashes, Blue.
No. The infamous push.
Yeah. And
Pull
Terry's.
No such,
Yeah.
no such thing as a pull.
Yeah,
Sophie, you guys that gibberish as well? There's no such thing as a pull.
Man, I was on the whole push thing 4 years ago, if not longer, Blue. It's going back a while now.
We shouldn't let that one fade into the distance.
Yeah. Pressure. Can't move anything without pressure. I've always been on about that too.
Oh yeah.
And then these other people come into the bloody round, like Dell and Chemo, and claim all the credit for my ideas. What the hell's going on?
Yeah, because I've heard Chemo talk about the whole pressure idea, that there's no such thing as heat, it's all pressure. It sounds a bit different from yours, but yeah, it's something like that.
My thing has always been you can't move anything without the application of pressure. Won't do it ever. And the whole push-pull thing, yeah, God, as Blue said, that's going back an eon now. That I remember Blue and I talking about that maybe 5 or 6 hours one day, Blue. They tried to come up with all these scenarios. It was funny. Did it on Crashes. We did it on Sean G show at one stage as well.
It went on for a while.
Yeah. Everyone thought they could stump me, but they fell short. They fell short. The closest
Blue didn't stump
one.
you?
No, Blue didn't. I think Blue's going bald because of our arguments, pulling his hair out. I think the closest one actually was remember Barney, Blue? Barney,
Yeah.
I can't remember. Yeah. He was the closest to get me to maybe submit to a pulling force, but I still didn't. He had to go down to the subatomic kind of levels. Which you're clutching at straws if you got to do. So, Blue, what is the most acceptable way for you yourself, right, to draw a perfectly, well, close enough to perfect, right? Close enough to perfect, right? Having an absolute perfect might be a bit of a stretch, but close enough to perfect. A perfectly straight horizontal line in 3D space from a singular point. So from point A, drawing a perfectly straight line. What would be your acceptable method of of actually achieving that.
What am I drawing the line on?
Oh, well, I suppose you could put some, I don't know, periodic stakes along the ways, thereabouts. You know,
Oh, you're talking about a really long line?
Yeah. Not like on a piece of paper, like in 3D space. You know, creating a perfectly straight horizontal. Well, like I said, it's close enough to perfect as you can.
Well,
from a starting point A.
From a starting point A?
Yeah. So
my
it's
perfect.
horizontal. Yeah, so it's horizontal from starting point A.
Well, any direction you want it to go in. But my perfect way is not to draw the line, it's to draw a virtual line. I'll pick an endpoint to go along with the starting point. And then it's quite simple to mathematically define every point in between those 2 points that are in a straight line.
Okay.
That's your straight line.
Okay, then. But if you wanted to have this line in 3D space, so you reference it. Right? So we want to be able to draw it. We want to be able to create it in 3D space, obviously, and then mark that line on some star pickets along the way.
Okay.
But it's perfectly horizontal from that starting point A. How would you go about it practically?
Well, practically speaking, I think one very accurate way of doing it would be, as I said, you've got to pick how far you want it to go, pick the endpoint. And now we can mathematically